Well, hello and welcome to another video by Financial Learning. On today's video, we're going to be talking about Celsius Beverage Company, also known as Celsius Holdings. We're going to go over their latest PR that was dated November 1st, 2024. That's today, folks, depending on when you're watching. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, folks, let's get into today's PR. This is, of course, about Celsius Holdings. They are an energy drink company, specifically a sugar-free energy drink company. If you haven't heard of them, you can find them in most convenience stores as well as grocery stores. They do have their products already on the shelves here in the United States, and they've already started to expand globally. We're going to go into what some of that looks like in a couple of slides moving forward. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about today's PR. So they just announced the purchase as of today, November 1st, 2024, of Big Beverages Manufacturing Company. So they actually purchased a facility. It was a very good strategic move, and they did this with cash on hand. That's right. They had $75 million available to make this purchase. They didn't need to acquire any additional debt. They didn't need to acquire any senior secured notes or anything in the form of dilution. They had enough cash on hand to make this purchase. Now, they shared a couple of their strategic rationale behind this purchase, but a couple other things I wanted to point out is the fact that the Big Beverage Company management as well as our workforce will remain in the facility. So that means that Celsius does not have to worry about scaling up their head count. They basically purchased the facility, and the people there are willing to continue to work. So they're going to be able to get this rather turnkey. So I'm expecting to see some capacity increase potentially in this same quarter. But let's go ahead and continue reading through some of the strategic rationale. So part of it is vertical integration of a plant primarily dedicated to Celsius provides incremental research and development for their limited time offer products. So if you think about it, say they have, their top 3, top 5 go-to beverages that have the most sales, but they want to go ahead and introduce a couple new flavors to try to see what the market thinks. They don't want to have to stop their line and potentially compromise on what is a substantial revenue generator for them. So with this additional facility here, they're able to change over, if you will, and start generating these newer limited time offer type products. A couple other key items is going to be that this is providing them with a greater supply chain control, quicker innovation cycles, like I mentioned with this limited time offers, and greater production flexibility. So there's a lot of really important, really exciting things that they're planning on doing with this location. Let's go ahead and read through just a few others. Future expansion opportunities with the ability to add additional capacity as the business scales and grows. So as I mentioned, they are starting to get their hands into the global market over in Europe. And regardless of how their market share is doing in the United States, whether it stays flat or they're able to continue to grab some additional market share, the fact that they are introducing themselves to new countries, that's automatically going to be an increase in market share for those specific countries. So I find that this is a very smart move for the company to be able to continue to saturate globally. That's going to help them continue to scale up their revenue as well as that operating profit. So moving on to a couple more of these rationales. So per case savings and improved leverage and margins expected. So again, it sounds like this facility is going to actually be a cost improvement in terms of their production there. So that should help increase that operating profit. And then two more, solid ROIC, so return on invested capital opportunity. So most people just call it ROI, but in this instance, they went ahead and added the capital on there. And lastly, earnings per share accretion potential. Sorry about that, folks. So yes, so there is potential for that earnings per share to go up. And that all makes sense if you think about it. You're adding footprint, you're adding additional product to your line there. So that's going to come at an increase on revenue. And we noticed that they're already profitable on that revenue. So adding this other facility, which they're saying is going to be even more robust, and it's going to help them with some additional cost down initiatives, it sounds like they're going to have a significant operating profit increase. So I think that this was a very bullish thing to come out with, and they do have earnings coming out within the next 4 days. So expecting this next week to hear about how they did in this previous quarter. So a lot of things going on for Celsius. If you were to look at the stock at one point in the past 52 weeks, it was close to about $100 per share. It has seen a significant downturn. Now, if you are looking through their earnings, you may be scratching your head because we'll look through some of those as well. You see a significant increase in earnings year over year and quarter to quarter. But the reason, in my opinion, why the stock price started to go down is there was some conversations during their earnings call where they kind of pointed out that there was potential for some of the overall beverage market to see a slowdown over the summertime. So I think because of that, some investors got a little nervous and they went ahead and pulled out. I actually am invested in this company. I think that the product is great. I think if you look at their balance sheet, you're going to see that it is an excellent revenue generating company. You see the product on the shelves and the operating profit is very nice. So I still hold, I do believe that within the next earnings cycle and with their additional expansion, that they should start to reflect that on the earnings per share going in the positive direction. Again, that's my opinion, not financial advice, but just want to share that with you all. All right, and on this slide, you're going to see a quick bar graph just going over the ready-to-drink energy year over year, unit growth versus total beverage energy the last 5 years. So you're seeing that there is an increase in the energy beverages over the past 4 to 5 years or so. And you're going to see Celsius. They are that orange portion of the bar. You're going to see that they are gaining a rather decent size market share in this energy beverage company. Energy beverage sector. So I do feel that this is rather good information to have. I'll share a link for this specific investor presentation for anyone that's interested. It'll be in the description below. All right, this slide talks a little bit about their sales year over year, as well as their contribution to the ready-to-drink energy category, so their dollar growth. So starting on the left there, you can see from 2019 to 2024, they had a rather large sales increase, and this is in the billions. So in 2023, they had 1.88 billion. And remember, folks, we're still in the middle of 2024 and they've already hit 1.31 billion. So I am very much interested to see how they finish out the year, their fiscal year and calendar year. And just looking over at the growth year over year, you can actually see that. So that kind of normalizes the sales versus their dollar growth. You can see for the amount of year so far in 2024, they're looking at about a 46.5% growth. So they are still growing year over year, expanding as additional people learn about the drink, give it a shot. It seems to me that they have something going for them in terms of revenue and also their operating profit. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about operating profit. All right, here you can see their operating profit. Again, this is quarter by quarter. You can see between 2024 quarter one and 2024 quarter two, they're sitting at about 23.5% operating profit for these ready-to-drink energy beverages. So you're looking at their gross profit in dollars. And again, this is in millions. They're sitting at about a 52% increase in their gross profit dollars. So they are just seeing continued growth quarter over quarter. And that is something as an investor that you want to make sure you're seeing for the company. It seems to me that they are able to make the changes with the market as people start to consume their product. It is not something people are walking away from. It seems like people are show continued interest. All right, folks, I talked a little bit about the expansion for Celsius. You can see from a global standpoint exactly where they are and where they plan to be in this investor presentation. You can see that they've already started sales in Canada as well as in the UK. Canada was in January, UK in April, and then Ireland as well was in April. They have plans. You can see the expected countries there highlighted as orange for Australia, New Zealand, and France. So I think that's a very smart move for Celsius as they're going to be expanding their sales efforts into 3 additional countries to be able to purchase a facility to be able to expand their product, as well as give them that flexibility to put together some of those limited time offerings. Because as I mentioned, if you want to be able to keep the consumers that they have, as well as get some new consumers, I think it's important that they're able to offer some additional variety in terms of flavors so that they can get some additional people hooked and then potentially add to their baseline of offerings. All right, and then looking at their consolidated revenue, again, this is in millions. Go ahead and take a look at the graph on the left. You can see they have a very steady revenue growth over the past few years. And then on the right-hand side, this is quarter over quarter. It's in that black bar chart. Again, this is in millions. So just looking at quarter 2 of 2024, they had $402 million in revenue just for that quarter, and that indicates a 23% year over year growth. So this company is still growing like crazy. So I was very surprised to see, the price action that it did. But again, I think that's just because some investors were a little nervous when they talked about potential slowdown in that sector. I think that if the company comes out and it was more of a fake out, maybe quite a bit of interest was drummed up in the second half of the quarter, it could tell a different story here in the earnings that are going to be coming out just in this next week. So we'll all have to stay tuned. And I like to also show where are they versus the other energy drinks. And you should notice some of these energy drinks. They should be familiar to you already. The top brand there is actually Red Bull. That's a private company. You cannot invest. It's not publicly traded on the market right now. Monster Energy or Monster Beverages, they're number 2. And you can see Celsius coming in at number 3. From a market share. And it's interesting because this is all of the energy drink beverages. But if you're looking at just the sugarless energy drinks, Celsius by far is the leader in that specific sector. So in that market share. So depending on how the overall economy, how the overall consumers take a stance on the energy drinks, if they do want to look for more sugar-free options, this is definitely going to continue to be a very high interest type of product. All right, and that wraps it up for me, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a little bit about Celsius Beverage Company if you hadn't before. And I hope you enjoyed hearing about the latest PR. Let me know your thoughts on this video. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you appreciated this specific video, go ahead and throw up a like for me if you will. Drop a comment and also let me know what other types of stocks, what other type of content you'd be interested in. I'm going to be putting out various press releases of different companies that I feel are very strong in terms of profitability. And then I'll also be putting out some other content information that I think that will continue to be relevant, week over week, month over month, just when it comes to investments overall, whether it's breaking down specific terminology in different filings that you're reading, or just looking at different strategies. My plan is to provide my watchers with as much information as possible. Hopefully you guys all enjoy this video, and I'll see you on the next one.